Well, it's after 4, so we better get going. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Darren. I'm one of the marketing coordinators with BCIT's School of Health Sciences. I can hear people are still coming in, so that's great. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our information session for the magnetic resonance imaging, also known as MRI program. And I want to say how happy we are to see you all, and thank you for attending our presentation today. We will be addressing as many questions as possible at the end of the presentation in the Q&A segment. But you are welcome to post any questions you have into the chat during the presentation. And if possible, if I could ask everyone to please keep your microphones and videos turned off until the Q&A section near the end, just to reduce any connectivity issues or distractions. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right, and just before we get started, I wanted to mention that BCIT acknowledges that our province of British Columbia is located on homelands of 203 distinct Indigenous nations and cultures with over 30 different languages and close to 60 unique dialects which are spoken. We ask all participants to reflect, acknowledge, and honor in their own way the First Nation land on which they live, work, and play. Thank you. And also, our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam. For our agenda for this evening, we're doing welcome and introductions right now while everyone is coming in from the waiting room. We're going to do a quick poll, actually a couple of consecutive polls, just to get to know you better and to see where your knowledge is at. We'll do the presentation and program overview with the program head. And then we'll have some time with program advising. And at the end, we'll do questions and answers, and hopefully everyone will have lots of good questions. So I'm going to back it up and we're going to do the polls. What does a patient have to wear when they get an MRI? Okay, I'm going to end the MRI poll. And I'm going to introduce Ray, and Ray can tell who was right.
Good afternoon, everyone. So as Darren said, my name is Ray. I'm the program head for the Magnetic Resonance Imaging, or MRI program. We can go over the poll questions. So just to give you a reminder, what do you need to wear before you get an MRI? The options were a helmet, protective eyewear, earplugs, or a lead apron. So the correct answer would be earplugs. So congratulations to those who got that or guessed that. So if you've had an MRI before, the machine is very loud. So all MRI patients are given earplugs to protect their ears, and also usually a set of headphones that go over the ears to further protect the patient's ears from the loud noises of the MRI scanner. And also for those patients who are feeling a little anxious or claustrophobic, as the headphones can usually play some sort of music over the headphones, so you can feel a little bit more relaxed as we are taking the images. So we'll go into the next slide there. So what is MRI? So MRI is a very fast growing modality. It's considered a baby compared to some of the other imaging modalities like X-ray or sonography, as MRI was invented only in the 1980s and used clinically towards the end of the 1980s. So MRI is really good for imaging soft tissue structures, organs, conducting neurological studies, and imaging pathology. It's a modality that can be imaged from head to toe, and there are whole body MRIs that are commonly done nowadays. The MRI images are very high resolution, so you get really nice, pretty pictures and can be acquired in all different planes, in 3D planes, just like CT. So we can make the images look in different ways, depending on what we're trying to look at on the MRI. So we can make fat look either dark or bright. We can make water look dark or bright on our MRI images, which really help with pathology, identification, tracking cancers and their treatments to see if they're working or not. So how MRIs work is that there is no radiation used like X-ray or CT. So it uses radio frequencies and magnets to acquire their images. So as you can see in the picture there on the slide, we lay the patient down on a table, and then we move them into a long donut. And within that donut is a very large, powerful magnet. So what it does to the patient's body is that it aligns all of the hydrogen protons in your body using the abundance of all the water molecules that you have within your body. And then when it aligns all of those protons, then we send in radio frequencies into the patient's body, which then interacts with the protons. And then as we stop the radio frequencies from going into the body, then those protons start to relax and they actually give off a little bit of energy, which then our cameras capture and turn into an image. So it works on the same principle as CT, where we get images in a kind of a 3D fashion or in different type of planes. But in comparison to CT, we just don't use radiation, so it's safe for the patient, and it's also safe for technologists working within the environment. And our images produce very high resolution imaging compared to CT. So we see a lot more pathology. So if you're into really seeing nice pictures of different body parts that we're going to be imaging, this is something that you'd definitely be interested in. So going to the next slide there. So some questions that you want to ask is if MRI is for you. So if you're interested in advancing your career, and the MRI program is definitely something that will interest you. This is a second discipline program, which means you must be a technologist in one of the other imaging programs, such as medical radiography, nuclear medicine, sonography, or radiation therapy. So there is a tremendous growth in the MRI field right now. There's a lot of job and career opportunities. So for those of you who are already technologists in a clinical setting, this is a different avenue for you to advance your career, is by taking the advanced certificate. If you're able to work independently and as a part of a team, this is a very important concept for you to kind of think about. Some of the MRI scanners now are running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you must be able to work independently with these hours, but you also should be able to work as a collaborative team as you do work day shifts, just like any other healthcare professional, which requires a lot of coordination between your teammates and also different departments within the hospital. And you also must be able to work under pressure. So there are some bigger sites that work with more acute patients, such as trauma patients or patients that come in that need stroke imaging, or what's being really popular now is ICU patients. So we all know about how high acuity those patients are, and they do come down for MRI imaging. So you have to be able to work collaboratively, like I said, with other healthcare providers and professionals under that high stress environment with potentially very sick patients. As previously mentioned, you must have a diploma or degree in another imaging program, and also have registration with the CMRT or Sonography Canada. So, and another entry requirement that you also have to keep in mind is the MRI safety screening form. So this is something that we give to each patient before they come in for their MRI. And this is something that we have all potential students fill out. So this is a screening form that we make everyone fill out, just to make sure that you are MRI safe, or that you're safe to enter the environment. The reason why is that the patient will be placed into a big magnet. We do have to go into the room to help the patient onto the table. So we have to make sure that there's nothing in our bodies or on the patient's bodies that could interact with the high field strength of the magnet that can cause harm. So if you have anything on you that's been implanted during a surgery, like a pacemaker or an aneurysm clip or anything like that metallic, that may cause an issue with you working in the MRI environment, this is something that we like to flag as part of the application process. So you'll have to fill out one of these MRI safety screening forms to make sure that at the end of your advanced certificate that you can actually work as an MRI technologist. All right, next slide there. So just as a quick program overview, it is a part-time online program. There is a 16-week clinical at one of the partner sites or clinical hospitals that is part of the advanced certificate. As part of your academics, there are 6 online courses that you will complete before your 16-week clinical. And then you can also continue on to complete a Bachelor's of Health Science at BCIT. So the general timeline to finish these 6 online courses and 16-week clinical is usually about 2 to 3 years. You can take more than one course during each of the terms. So we have 3 terms, so you can take more than one course a term if your workload allows that. The advanced certificate does ladder into that Bachelor's of Health Science, which is a very popular stream for a lot of our graduates from our MRI advanced certificate. This is really good for leadership, management roles. So if you don't have a bachelor's already or degree somewhere else, this is a really great way to obtain a Bachelor's of Health Science. You can come back at any time after your advanced certificate through the MRI program to complete the Bachelor's of Health Science, because we are a part-time online program. So it offers a lot of flexibility for students once they are working as MRI technologists to come back and finish their Bachelor's of Health Science. One very exciting initiative for those of you who don't have that existing diploma, which is a prerequisite for the advanced certificate, is that BCIT is developing a first discipline diploma in MRI. So this program will be for those students who don't have a diploma in a imaging program already. So you can come in from high school, apply into the program, which will be quite competitive. And in 2 years, you can obtain a diploma in MRI. So we should have more news about this new and exciting program, probably spring of 2022, so in a few months. And the details will be on the website about that new diploma program. But for now, we do offer the advanced certificate program for those who are working technologists already. All right, next slide. So career outlook for MRI technologists, we're in high demand right now. Healthcare is a great option for everyone to get into at this point. So the field is constantly expanding. Like I said, it's a fairly new modality, so there's a lot of new and exciting technologies coming out every year. And there's a great need for MRI technologists, especially in BC and in the Lower Mainland. So just to give you a picture of what the lay of the land is right now, is that we currently have 31 job openings in BC, 24 in the Lower Mainland. So it's a great time to get into this profession, as there are a lot of job opportunities once you graduate. MRI scanners are found in the hospital, in private clinics, and also in research facilities. So there's a wide range of different environments that you can practice MRI, depending on where you live or what you like to do in terms of workflow and workload. So if you're one that likes a lot of trauma and a lot of high acuity, there are hospitals that you can work at to satisfy that need. And if you like something a little bit slower paced, then you can work at smaller community hospitals and also private clinics as well. The pay is very well for an MRI technologist as well. So the starting wage starts off at about $36 an hour, going up to $42 or $43 an hour in the hospital setting. And then if you decide to work at a private clinic on the side, or for even full-time, they usually pay a lot more at the private clinics. So if money or the financial question over your head is how well do MRI technologists pay, it's quite well. So if that's a deciding factor, then it's good to know. Next slide. Okay, so some great things about our program is that we have a high certification pass rate. So our pass rate is about 90% or higher right now. You do need to pass a certification exam to work in MRI across Canada. So it's something that you'll do after you graduate from BCIT, after you finish your 16-week clinical. Each of our terms generally have a wait list to get in. So if you are interested in starting your MRI advanced certificate for the next intake in January, the applications are open. And like I said, we generally have a wait list. So it's good to get your application in. Our program is recognized across Canada. So we have a lot of students within BC, but also outside of BC take this part-time studies program. And as mentioned before, one of the great perks of this program is that it is part-time. So you can take a course, a term, and still work at the same time, and they go in hand. So as busy as everyone is in their personal lives, there's always time to take one course on the side, and before you know it, you'll be in clinical and finishing the program. Next slide. So just some details about the program itself. We do have 3 intakes a year. So as noted on the slide, we have a winter term, a spring term, and a fall term. The applications are open as of now for that January 2022 intake. So if you are interested, you can apply now for that next term. So we go to the next slide there. Some of the entry requirements. So we have an English requirement as noted there on the slide, post-secondary education, which includes a diploma or degree in one of the listed programs. So once again, medical radiography, nuclear medicine, sonography, or radiation therapy. Next slide there, we'll go into the MRI screening form, which we've discussed before. So it will just make sure that any students who are going to be accepted into the program can safely work in that MRI environment, and also registration with the CMRT, the Canadian Association of Medical Radiation Technologists, or Sonography Canada. All right, next slide.
That was excellent, Ray. Now it is my pleasure to say thanks to Ray and to introduce Janice, who will be speaking to us about the program advising from admissions. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you, Darren. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. So I'm going to be talking specifically about the application and admissions process this evening. Next slide, Darren. So the first step and the most important step you've already done, and that's to choose your program. The next step is to review the entrance requirements. And for this program, as Ray has indicated in his previous slides, there's both academic requirements, but we also require that you complete the MRI safety screening form. And you need to provide proof of registration with the CAMRT or registration with Sonography Canada. So also, if your credentials are from out of Canada, you may also need to have a comprehensive evaluation done of your credentials. Next slide, Darren. So if the actual application process is entirely online, it's very simple. It walks you through step by step, and documents do need to be converted to a PDF, and then they're uploaded to your application. Now, if you're a BCIT diploma grad, it's not necessary to upload your transcripts. You just need to state clearly the BCIT program that you graduated from, and the admissions department will look that up for you. So this particular program accepts applications on an ongoing basis because you can begin your studies in January, September, or even April. The application fee is $90, and it usually takes about 4 weeks to process, sometimes less. Next slide, Darren. So I just want to mention some of the important student supports that are available to you as a BCIT student. BCIT is committed to providing assistance to students with permanent or temporary disabilities. If you've been accepted to the program and you believe you may need accommodation to be successful, I encourage you to connect with our Accessibility Services Department. We also have a counseling and student development department, and they're available to help you to enhance your educational performance and to maximize your success as a BCIT student. If you have an Indigenous background, BCIT Indigenous Initiatives is here for you to ensure a smooth transition into your first year. They offer peer-to-peer mentorship, a welcoming gathering place, and provide clarification on Indigenous funding options. We also have a BCIT student health service, and it's an actual health clinic located on the Burnaby campus. They provide medical care for current BCIT students all year round. I also encourage you to review BCIT's awards, scholarships, bursaries, and these are all listed on the Financial Aid and Awards webpage. BCIT also has an excellent recreation services that's available to you. They offer you the state-of-the-art gym, exercise classes, drop-in sports, all while following the current Ministry of Health COVID safety regulations. Next slide, Darren. So please don't hesitate to contact Program Advising if you've got questions or if you're unsure of something. We're available to assist you through telephone, email, in person, or even virtual drop-in. So you just need to go to our webpage, bcit.ca/advising, for our up-to-date contact information and the service hours that we provide. If your inquiry is time sensitive and you really need that answer to your question really quickly, I really encourage you to connect with us through telephone advising. We have telephone advising Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, and this is the best option to get your questions answered quickly. Next slide. So lastly, I just want to mention the many resources available to you after tonight. You may want to refer to some of the BCIT social media options mentioned on this slide. There are some amazing YouTube videos highlighting many of BCIT's programs. There's lots of great YouTube videos out there available to you. As restrictions ease, you may want to book a tour. You might want to request a spend a day in a particular program, or attend a few different information sessions after this evening as well. There's lots of information sessions out there available to you. So that's all the information that I've got for you this evening. And now would be a perfect opportunity to ask us any questions that you might have.
Exactly. Thank you, Janice. And it is questions and answers time. If I could find the chat box, let's see if anyone has any questions.
Nothing yet.
Not yet. Okay, everybody, this is your time to shine. Let's see what some intelligent questions you can come up with. If it's something very personal, you can always, in private contact advising, or Ray, the program head, will give you the contact information in a bit. But if it's something general question or any question at all about BCIT, please put it in the chat and we'll do our best to answer. Or this is going to be a short info session.
Or all the information they need, they received this evening, right?
Maybe it was pretty good.
It was. Oh, here we go. There's a question for you, Ray, or me. You choose.
Sorry, I'm on mute. I always do that. So the question is, can anyone graduate from high school apply for this program? So the advanced certificate is meant for those students that have already a diploma in the imaging from an imaging program already. So like as mentioned, medical radiography, sonography, radiation therapy, nuclear medicine, I think was the last one. So you do need that existing diploma / bachelor's. But as I said, it wasn't on any of the slides, but we will be having a first discipline MRI program, which will have high school program entrance requirements that will hopefully be starting in January of 2023. with taking applications hopefully in the spring of 2022. So high school graduates then would be invited to apply for that diploma program. But currently at BCIT, we only offer the advanced certificate for those existing imaging technologists. Okay, here come the questions. Okay, so how many students on average do you accept each term? So for our part-time studies, we actually don't really cap it with the exception of BC students, and that just adheres to the amount of clinical seats that we have. So we generally like to have about 18 students for each course is about a good amount for us, but yeah, we don't really have a cap with the exception of BC or local students just to accommodate your clinical experience. So another question, I'm currently applying to the MRT program, Saskatoon. Once I'm applying for this, I'm going to do my work placement. Great, that's a great question. So for those of you who are outside of BC and complete the academic or didactic portion of this advanced certificate, you can definitely do your clinical closer to home. You don't have to move to BC or the Lower Mainland to complete this. You can definitely stay where you are to complete your clinical. And this usually works really well for technologists who already work at a hospital. They generally try and do their MRI clinical at their home kind of site. So the transition's a lot easier. You are familiar with the site, maybe the doctors that work there, maybe even some of the MRI technologists already. So it's a really nice transition to have the flexibility to do that. So yeah, so if you're outside of BC, you're definitely more than welcome to stay within your province and your city to complete your clinical. I'm just going to scroll up here. So next question, if one wishes to pursue a degree, how many credits from this program could go towards this? And would your prior diploma also be considered as credits? Okay, that's another great question. So the advanced certificate transfers over into the Bachelor's of Health Science. So that makes up about 2/3 of the required credits. And your previous diploma would be considered as credits as well. So what the bachelor's kind of consists of is your existing imaging diploma, your advanced certificate through the MRI program here at BCIT, and then there are 7 core component courses that you take at BCIT also as part-time studies to gain enough credits for the entire Bachelor's of Health Science. So the advanced certificate itself transfers over credit for credit into the bachelor's. So the 7 courses, 3 credits each. It's about 21 credits in total after your advanced certificate. Is it possible to speak to former students or alumni from this program? Yeah, I think I would be able to maybe get you in contact with some students who have gone through the program through the advanced certificate and also the Bachelor's of Health Science. I believe my contact information will be provided at the end of this. So if you'd like, you can write me an email and maybe I can provide you with a few students that I know that would be able to give you some good information about the MRI program, the advanced certificate and the bachelor's.
Okay, that's it for right now. We'll just give a moment to see if anyone else can come up with a question. Otherwise, we'll all be given the gift of time. Going once. Going twice. Well, maybe someone will come up with something. Oh, here we go.
How difficult is the exam that must be written after? So yeah, it's definitely difficult. I used to teach in the MedRad department program at BCIT, and they also have a certification exam through the CMRT as well. The MRI one is definitely a little more difficult. It's a more complex modality in comparison. But like I said, the program has a very high certification exam pass rate. It's definitely above the standard across the other MRI programs that are offered across Canada. In order to be accredited program, you must meet a certain threshold in your pass rate, which you're well above as well. So I feel like there's definitely adequate support while you're going through your part-time studies at BCIT to ensure that we're doing everything we can so that you're successful.
Excellent. Thank you, Ray. So I do have Ray's email and advising's email addresses up on the screen if anyone wants to jot that down for after. Because you never know, when you come up with a question, maybe while you're sleeping tonight, a question will appear. Okay, well, anyways, I want to thank Ray and Janice and Erin for her help. And I want to let everyone know that a copy of the slide presentation with a link to this video recording will be emailed out to all the registrants, hopefully by the end of next week. And also there are more info sessions all week, so feel free to join any or all of those. And thank you very much for being with us today. We wish you all the best in your future in health sciences. And I don't see anything else in the chat, so thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. It's a pleasure.